Hey, how is it going? I hope everything's going your way. I hope if it ain't, I hope you figure it out and make it so. Tell you a secret, pro tip. If it's not going your way, it can. Um, all we got to do is figure out what's inside of ourselves that's stopping us from being fine with what is happening around us, whatever it is. And once we do, we might find that we might find that even if we're feeling bad or stressed out or worried, once we find that inside of ourselves, just stops like instantly. Like a feeling we get, it's like the eureka moment, right? Like the I got it moment, right? And what that is, that feeling is that's energy moving, and the resistance drops. Energy was able to move. It relaxed, and as a result, we don't feel discomfort or dissatisfied, and we learn something. We got it. We know why that is, and it comes less frequently. When it does, we just repeat it. This is refinement, purification, right? It says in the Bible, God's going to throw you in the furnace, and the slag is going to come to the top, and what's left is going to be like gold, right? It's going to be like priceless. It's going to be valuable, and what's left is you. Plot twist, right? It's kind of like in a lot of ways, the Bible was taught like a fairy tale, right? It's preached out of like a fairy tale, and it's not. Very, very, very powerful spiritual roadmap. It's called the Book of Life for a reason, right? It's your life. And those who got the ears to hear it and the eyes to see it and the hearts to feel it, they will be in the kingdom of heaven is theirs. They'll be in the kingdom of heaven, and it'll be at hand. And it's that way for everyone, but the problem is people can't realize it. And books like the Bible, scriptures, sacred texts like the Bible and the Vedas, and all of the things, they really are like spiritual roadmaps on how to get to heaven, liberation, enlightenment. Yeah. A lot of ways Christianity has been taught in a way that really did conform with how the world thinks you should live. Some people say it's a Protestant view. There's nothing wrong with the Protestant spirit that says I can do some things for myself. In fact, God encourages that. We see that multiple times through the Bible. I can do anything through the power of Christ. Through Christ that strengthens and empowers me, I can do all things. David encouraged himself, he that is in me is greater than he that is in the world. That which is in me is greater than all that is the world. I mean, list goes on and on and on. God didn't throw the stone at Goliath. God didn't come down here and say, give me that sling, David, I'll take care of it. God empowered David. God was right there with David. It's a partnership, and it's not a tyrant stepping on your neck. That is not God. And he empowered Moses to do all the incredible miracles that Moses was able to do. He was there again with Jesus, and Jesus tried his damnedest to tell everybody, you can do it. Do everything that I can do. Those who come after me, they're going to be even greater than me. Those are his words. You know, and you're kind of making Jesus a liar and saying he's wrong when you're waiting on him to do something. He said, you're going to do greater than I have done. Get out there and do it. Figure it out. But in a lot of ways, Christianity it conforms to the Western idea, right? Like, sure, there's some monasteries, but it really conforms with the capitalist idea, the way it's taught and the way it's been manipulated to fit into like a culture, like a capitalist culture, like American culture. Because it's like, well, you just come on to church one day a week for like an hour or two, and then you get your butt back out there in the field and get that cotton. And it's like, fuck that. No, forget that. That's disgusting. That is disgusting. And get your butt back to work Monday morning. And instead of like, they say things that are really very manipulative and deceptive in statement. They go, "We're serving the Lord," and you look at what they do. Like 90% of their time, right, is like go to work, eat, and sleep, and get up and be a worker ant some more. Like, you're not serving God, broski. You're not serving the Lord. You serving the rulers of this world. And since everybody likes to quote Paul, Paul told you the battle was against them, didn't he? He said the battle was against the darkness, the rulers, and darkness isn't low in high places. Don't kid yourself. And he specifically said it was against the rulers of this world. The ones who really rule this world, well, they keep you sitting there screwing around your entire life instead of like living to become closer with God and do all those things. And they tell you it's over there what you want. It's over there, and it's really in here. It's really in here what you're looking for. And you know in America there's a real bad habit, at least in the place I grew up, where people cannot stand to see people relax. Right? It just them people, they're like, get your ass up, do something. Some of you people grew up in a house like that. And some of you people see that phenomenon as adults, where people are like, don't be sitting there. You got to get up and do something. It's like, no, sit down. It's time to take a deep breath. It's time to instead of hop up and ignore what's going on inside of yourself, which is probably what them people do. They tried to sit down one time and they had a whole nightmare going on inside. They didn't want to look at it. They didn't want to see it. They didn't want to acknowledge it was there. So what do they do? Well, I found out if I get up and I just don't stop moving until I die, I can not ever have to face myself. That's neglect. You're neglecting yourself, because yourself is trying to talk to you through thoughts and say, hey, you need to pay some attention to this. You need to process it. You need to get this trauma out of here. Because that trauma is linked to all kinds of behavior unknowingly people do. That's what ignorance is. And the end of suffering comes at the end of ignorance. And the only way you get rid of ignorance is you know why you're ignorant. You know why you're suffering, so to speak. You know why you're doing the things you do. No, nobody's get up and sporadically say, I want to do something. Nobody said, well, I can't do that because I don't know why, but I just can't do it. That means something is in there stopping you. Yeah, absolutely. Using work to mask trauma. Hey. And, a lot of what I'm doing now is I'm practicing being lonely. And we call it lonely like it's a bad thing. Well, it's not. Everybody likes to have a friend every now and then to talk to. I'm not telling you to become a hermit on a mountain. I'm telling you to become a hermit in a fifth wheel camper in Nevada. That's shots fired. You know who you are. And, you gotta know why you're doing something. I'm sitting here, I can't do this and that, and I didn't want to face it, but the whole time the thought was there, like a spirit staring at me inside or something, and it was because I didn't want to, I wanted to accommodate someone else. So whatever I did, I put off, and I wouldn't say, well, I want to do this. Absolutely, just spending time alone, not necessarily being lonely. Yeah, there you go. You can put it that way. Yeah. So I just, when we let something like accommodating someone affect us to a large degree that it just starts to become aggravating to us, we gotta, it's time to say, well, why am I accommodating this person to this degree that it is affecting me negatively? All right. That's how awful things happen inside to us, is when we sacrifice ourselves on the altars of others. And a lot of the time, a lot of people sit there and they do a bunch of stuff for somebody until the point where they got amygdala going on. They get so tired that they're then real frustrated. Inhibition goes away and all that, and then they can say, then they lash out at that person. I did all these things for you, and really because they feel like that person owes them. Well, if you do something for somebody else, you better damn sure do it with grace, and you better understand that you're doing it for someone else because you want to, not because there's something there's apparently some kind of biological component to this whole thing that says that if I do something for someone, yeah, they should do something back, or they should give something back. Absolutely, Zach, absolutely. Compromising, giving too much of self away, absolutely. And what we got to do is, it's not, we shouldn't get to the point where we're stingy and selfish, but we also should kind of learn to balance a little bit. There's no shame in doing something that you genuinely want to do because you like doing good things. If you're like that naturally and you don't ever feel like I just described, that's probably a gift you got. Because a lot of people will do and do and do for others, and then one day they finally had enough. And they're like, nobody's doing anything for me, and that opens up a door to all kinds of bad places. It opens up a door that says that leads you to something akin to this, that says that everyone thinks I'm wishy-washy and everybody thinks I'm a pushover. I got to start pushing back, and I got to start stomping my foot and beating my chest and doing all kinds of things. And a really person who is really nice naturally and giving naturally, when they get to that point, and everybody has a point, don't bullcrap yourself. It's like, yeah, they don't know how to set a boundary or easily. So they start fighting the world around them, thinking, because that's what that's manifesting as, when all you got to do is say no from the beginning. Understand, why you're doing something. Understand, know why. Don't just do something, just don't not do something, know why. And know the real reason. And I'm telling you, usually they're tied back to a real need that was not met. And a lot of people believe it starts in childhood. Sometimes it starts a little bit later. Who the hell knows? But I know it's tied to a need that's not met. So you got to understand. You got to do a little bit of learning. You got to understand what you need. Human beings, the bodily portion, and a lot of the emotional ones are universal. So if you can understand those components of this, then you can manage the body and the mind better. You can understand things a lot better. And yeah, and I'm practicing being lonely, and it's a good practice, because if you can't be alone for a little while, you're always going to be enslaved to somebody else's attention. You'll always be a slave in that way. It'll always be there. How can I get... You'll treat them a lot like an idol, right? And you'll be sitting there at the metaphorical altar to them, say, how can I throw myself upon this to please my God, that is them, so that my God gives me a little bit of love and affection, and when they don't give it, you'll go to war with your God. You'll hate them. You'll lash out. You'll say all kinds of bad things because this is not... There's very serious things. You'll be resentful. You'll be angry. And, even then, there's great lessons to be learned. You can learn how to forgive. You can learn how to love unconditionally. It's kind of like what I have to do, I have to kind of force myself to be social, too. It's hard to be social. I realized that whenever I got out of the worker trap, so to speak, at first, is I realized that... or the job trap, not necessarily the work trap. Work is just expenditure of energy. Doing something can be considered work. Taking a walk can be work. Doing labor can be work. But I had to kind of realize that whenever I first got out of the job trap, I would go to places during like weekdays, and the stores would be damn near empty. I'd have the world to myself. I really would. And it's like, well, I come to the conclusion that is not actually how the world should be. Like, let me give you an example. All right, very crude example. You had like pioneers at one time, right? And it could be this society, because pioneers, that was who settled the place. I don't want to get into that. I want to make an example. At the beginning of every society, you essentially had something that looked like that. I go in the woods, and I chop down some trees, and I stack them on top of each other, and I make a shelter. And I make some fencing, and whatever. It did not take 30 to 60 years of your lifespan to have shelter, or clothing, or any of those other things. You had to get up and do something for them, absolutely. But in comparison, it is a lot easier to take an axe and build shelter from scratch over the course of a year, maybe 2 years, than to sit there and have to go to essentially a concentration camp called a place of employment for 30 to 60 years of your life, and then circumstances absolutely beyond your control, the damn economy tanks, you lose all your progress, and nobody gives a shit. That is not a viable alternative. That is a shit show. And I've never been in that circumstance. I've been lucky. Everywhere I was, there was God, and in everything I did, there was God again. I was blessed. Every single day of my life, I am blessed. And that stuff has never happened, but it happens to people. And that's empathy. When it didn't happen to me, I don't have to care about that. Well, I don't know what to tell you. It kind of goes with being an empath, bro, sis, whatever. You get to feel things, even when they're not your feelings. They come right in. And if you don't know these things and you don't really figure it out, you get real confused. Why is my emotional system haywire? Well, turns out you got a really cool power. It's not a viable alternative, all right? It seems like every time there's an advancement in technology of some kind that's supposedly going to make human life easier, it makes it harder for the majority of people in a lot of ways. The majority of people depend on a job of some kind. I encourage you to do what I've always said do. Figure out a way to go be free. But I've got to talk about things as I see them and as they are, not how I'd like them to be. And how I see it is a lot of people are going to be displaced because of a great technological revolution that is coming. It will be great if you end all the monotonous job crap. But at the same time, I don't see any realistic possibility that millions of people who are going to end up displaced are going to be able to feed themselves, house themselves, or shelter themselves as society and this system exists as it is now. I don't see any way that's going to be feasible for them. What are they going to do? I just imagine like peasants arguing with peasants, right? Some of the peasants will be like, well, you're not too proud to go flip a hamburger. Well, when flipping a hamburger don't provide money, and the peasants would say that to the other peasants, they want to go do it, then say, well, it wasn't meant to provide a living. That's not going to solve nothing. That's not going to solve jack shit. You know? At this moment in time, what I see is this is speculation, is that AI is about to have a revolution. We're about to have a technological revolution in this country, in this world. Not just the country, but the world. We're going to have a technological revolution. A lot of people are going to be displaced. And when they get hungry and they get cold, they're going to do something they did in 1776. And who knows if they win? Who knows? I don't know. But I'm just speculating off what I see. At the same time, millions of people are waking up. God is literally touching people, waking them up personally. Yeah, nuclear energy. Yeah, God is personally waking people up, personally. Millions of people, and electrons are like entangled together. What affects one electron affects all of them. And what is matter built of, guys? Atoms. Many other things, I'm sure, that haven't been discovered. They just keep seeing smaller and smaller things, absolutely. But let's keep it simple. Atoms. Atoms have electrons, protons, and neutrons. And so as some of us wake up, some more wake up. It's like a dominoes, right? You push the domino over and a whole trail of them fall down. And it just keeps on going. And the world can change that way. And that would be the best thing to happen. It is a great thing that God is getting involved with this planet. Be a real funny joke if the trumpet sounds and everybody said, when the trumpet sounds, we're all going up to the sky, bare-ass naked, floating in the clouds. They won't even get naked in public. They're ashamed, but they're going to float around with each other in the air when a trumpet blows. It would be great if that horn blows and then like a loudspeaker comes over where everybody can hear it and says that you're teaching the Bible wrong. I can't come back until you get it right. That would be the most I would laugh. I would build several altars that day. I would say, oh my God, this is why I love him. I could just see it. Oh man, do that, Lord, do that. Until y'all stop passing that damn plate around, wanting money from each other, and you do what I told you to do. You go out into the wilderness. I fed the birds, the bees, and the trees, and everything in between. How much more I love you that I'll give you even more than I gave them. But I can't if you put faith in a fucking plate you pass around to the congregation. Stop living in America and start living in the promised land. Fantastic. You know, guys, I'm going to test this. It's part of my testimony. Yeah, I think anything I got under my own power. You wrong. I ain't do a damn thing. God give it to me. Every bit of it, all the time, throughout the years. I didn't get it under my own power. If it was under my own power, I'd be hanging out in a dumpster, starving to death, praying. If I had to get it under my own power, forget it. Forget it. It's all in the divine's hands. But yeah, I just, signs, synchronicity, signs and wonders are all around us. And they're all about miracles to come and miracles that are. And I have signs all the time. When they start selling this tractor, how does universal weather on a cosmetic scale? How does universal weather on a cosmic scale affect the Earth? I'd have to understand what universal weather means in that context, but I'm gonna tell you what I understand about things that happen, and does that affect the sun's solar max and minimum? I'd have to understand a few of those terminologies, but what I can say is that, all right, everything that happens affects everything. All right, the especially when you get that spirit woke up inside of you, that kundalini, that Holy Spirit, especially when that thing wakes up, and especially when you're awake, because you become very hyperly attuned to all kinds of things, and the moon starts to affect us. Every time that moon gets powerful and decides it wants to have a good time in that night sky, oh boy, the energy just ramps up, and eclipses everything. So yeah, I mean, like, I make an assumption that, yeah, all that stuff, how does it affect it energetically? That's a bullcrap answer. I don't know. I'm not really astrology, but I do recognize that it probably affects it. If the sun's solar max and minimum, okay, the sun is, like, in a lot of ways, like a big ball of energy, nuclear reactions and things, right? And as a result, you get all this energy and stuff. Okay, so does universal weather? It would depend on the type of weather. Affect the Earth on a cosmic scale. It depends. I need more factors. Like, is it a solar storm happening up there? How strong's the solar storm? I need a lot of variables and factors and information, and then I could answer that. I just don't have enough information. If you gave me like a scenario, I could probably give you an answer. Things are happening, though. Big things are happening. Big old things are happening on this earth. That is now I'm fascinated by that question. That is an awesome question. Thank you. I'm fascinated by that question now, because it makes my mind chatter a little bit and rattle. It's like, what kind of weather is it? Is it clear? Is there turbulence? What's the air pressure? What's the speed of these comets? What affects their speed? It makes me wanna read books about the universe to be able to have an answer. All I know at this moment, though, is that space affects people on this planet, and I'm sure it affects every other thing on this earth. You have a moon thousands of miles away from this planet that when it gets too close to this planet, the tsunamis, right? There's a lot of water in a human being, so if we just look at it, there's a lot more happening, of course. But yeah, absolutely. Everything affects everything. Absolutely. In ways I can't answer. But yeah. Fascinating. Fascinating. It feels so good to be between these trees. They're always so kind to share with me their energy. I can tell too, because I'll be walking around. I did this in a video one time. I'll be walking around and I'll step inside the forest, and all of a sudden I start to feel like kind of joyful and everything. And fantastic place to be. Fantastic place to be out here. Beautiful place. But that's okay, because I know the one that made this place made them all. And Beautiful place here. This is a holy place. I always feel like I'm walking through a church when I walk through this place. That's life. And I wish that more people could experience what I experience, and they had time to go out there into the forests of the world, and go out to the deserts of the world, and go out to the oceans, and go out to everywhere else, the tundras, and just live and experience them. I mean, you know how insane what's going on this earth at this current moment is? Human beings, the apex predator, the greatest life, the greatest thing on this earth in our capabilities, the most potential. And what do? We enslave each other at the barrel of monetary ideas, barrel of financial institutions, and all of those things, to the point where people, there is no easy answer. You can't just walk into the wilderness and live. That they would chase you. They will do something if you are somewhere you shouldn't be at that point. A lot of places have vagrancy laws. You're not even going to be able to walk into a forest and mind your business. There is no choice. Oh wow, that's another good-looking rock, man. There's no real choice. There's no real choice. And I wish there was. I wish there was, but there's not a real choice. If there's no real choice, there's no real freedom. It's beautiful here. I hope at some point, real soon, human beings understand that you shouldn't have to enslave yourself to ones and zeros and dollars and money to live on this earth. I hope they learn that real fast. All right, guys, I hope everything goes your way. You got the power to make it so. And the source of your power is where it's always been, inside. Go find it.